Wendy's proudly claims that the beef it uses for its old-fashioned hamburgers is fresh, never frozen. And when you take into consideration how much equipment, effort, and planning it takes to execute Wendy's fresh meat vision, that's one beefy boast. Transporting frozen beef is much easier than distributing fresh, just processed hamburger meat. Frozen meat can remain viable for weeks or months, and after arriving at a restaurant in large quantities in a still solid state, it can be stored in freezers on the premises until it's needed. Because Wendy's uses only fresh meat, it has to nearly constantly send out trucks to supply all of its individual locations in the United States. Wendy's makes thousands of individual beef runs to its outlets every week. Beef from slaughterhouses and processing facilities, all domestic to save time on the production end to make for a fresh product, is placed into Wendy's distribution system, where the bulk of the operations take place on refrigerated trucks under constant observation to maintain the correct temperature so that the meat is kept cold enough to ensure safety, but not so cold that it freezes over. The patties arrive at a Wendy's restaurant at a temperature of right around 35 degrees Fahrenheit.
If hamburgers were meant to be frozen, wouldn't cows come from Antarctica?
To further reduce the need for freezing, Wendy's managers take only as much meat from the truck as they think they're going to need until the next delivery, which is never more than a couple of days away. That way, they can store it in a refrigerator set just a few degrees above freezing without having to worry about using an actual freezer for the excess. To Wendy's, the notion of fresh beef that's never been frozen is wrapped up with an overall commitment to high-quality protein relative to the rest of the fast food marketplace.
Order a hamburger at some places, chances are it's been sitting around getting old.
Fast food industry antibiotics may be a bigger problem than you thought, and in 2016, Wendy's pledged to phase out everyday antibiotic use throughout its beef supply chain, seeking to eliminate it entirely by 2030. As of 2020, about 1/3 of Wendy's meat suppliers have reduced antibiotic use in cattle feed to those deemed only the most medically vital. Wendy's is also the first restaurant conglomerate of any kind to sign up for the Progressive Beef Program, a system to encourage and manage animal welfare and sustainability.
Progressive Beef is a comprehensive quality control program, food safety, animal health, and sustainability.
Signatories must adhere to guidelines regarding humane treatment of cattle and antibiotic use, and they're subject to outside oversight. There's just one place in the world of Wendy's where customers will encounter beef that's less than extremely fresh, having been sitting around a restaurant for more than a day. That beef is anything but raw, however, and in keeping with the fresh, never frozen pledge, it still hasn't been frozen.
Wendy's chili's got more meat than my mama's chili.
This is the meat that goes into Wendy's chili. An anomaly among fast food chains, Wendy's serves up huge paper cups of the stuff, which is more of a vegetable soup with beans and ground beef added, barely resembling your typical thick, beefy Texas-style chili. Founder Dave Thomas put chili on the menu when he began operations in the late 1960s. Its purpose? To cut down on costly food waste. Unsold hamburger patties were repurposed, saved, and chopped to be turned into chili meat, and that practice continues today. Because Wendy's can't and won't freeze any excess stock of ground beef patties, individual restaurants take whatever unused beef they have and put it aside until they've got enough to make a batch of chili. The beef patties that star in every one of the hamburgers at Wendy's stand out against the sandwich building blocks of competitors like Burger King and McDonald's in a couple of ways. Not only are Wendy's patties virtually guaranteed to be freshly produced, never having been frozen at any stage, but they're also square. Hamburger patties are almost always round, but not at Wendy's. It's a decision made by the restaurant's founder, Dave Thomas, back in 1969 as a marketing ploy. Even when the company was brand new, Wendy's served higher quality beef, utilizing a four-sided shape that made it visible beyond the confines of the round bun in order to catch the diner's eye. There are also practical reasons why Wendy's serves square burgers. A greater number of square patties will fit on a grill than round ones, allowing a restaurant to maximize its kitchen space and time. Wendy's briefly considered switching to traditional round patties in the late 2000s after focus group participants said that the square shape made the product seem more processed. As a compromise, Wendy's kept the square patties but made them look more handmade, allowing for off-kilter edges or slight discrepancies.